Hi, everybody. Joe Chaffee here. Weather in 5 days in 5 minutes. Brought to you by Omni True Value Hardware at 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon, New York. And that's in southwest Suffolk County on Long Island. They are Long Island's largest rock salt source. And eventually you may need some, or you might need some of the great snow and ice melt products out there like MAG and Pelido, and of course all other supplies when it comes to taking care of and getting through winter weather. 631-756-1125. Nowhere can you find better prices. The website is omnitruevalue.com. So we've got a few things going on here today that we need to talk about. And first things first is the fact that we are seeing a pretty warm day here in most of eastern Pennsylvania to southern New England. Taking a look at the watches and warnings map, we actually have winter weather advisories up for northeastern New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, and into Maine. That's mainly for some icing issues that are going on there. Not that much in the way of snow. And we still have some residual winter weather advisories from South Dakota northeast to the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. And of course, the busy place has been the West, especially in California, where we have uh, numerous wind advisories and high wind warnings, winter storm warnings, and even some flash flood warnings as the next big storm comes into the West. And severe weather with tornado watches up as we head into early afternoon for coastal areas and just inland of the coast from southeastern South Carolina all the way down into southern Georgia and into the Florida Panhandle. And we are seeing a big storm out in the west. This is a very impressive look here on the western satellite loop as that low just spins away and this big arm that's coming in from off the ocean with another round of heavy rain and heavy snow. Meanwhile, you see the lightning flashes here happening in South Carolina down into Georgia and the Florida Panhandle with severe weather. And the Storm Prediction Center has a slight risk of severe weather. It's all showing up on the radar, seeing severe thunderstorm warnings, even the odd tornado warning or two popping up in parts of southeast Georgia, and special marine warnings for the coast. So that's the cold front moving through. It's already out of the rest of Georgia. Meanwhile, the top end of that front is swinging eastward, and that's going to bring some showers later today and tonight. But in the meantime, we're seeing temperatures that are running in the 60s, and in fact, it's already hit 70 degrees as of noon in Atlantic City. So I suspect that while we do have some sun in the mix here, you can see there's just some patchy clouds here as we go into 1 o'clock in the afternoon. The brighter white cloud tops to the west and those storms to the south are moving east. So we are going to get into some shower activity before too long. The precip amounts, as we take a look over the next 7 days, not a whole heck of a lot in the east. In the Appalachians, it's about a half to three quarters. Some places a little more, some a little less. And right along the immediate coastal plain, it's basically a quarter of an inch, and in some areas, even less than a quarter of an inch. It's all in the west and in California. We've seen this map pretty much every day for days and days now. For the next 7 days, some areas getting 10 inches or more of rain, particularly in Northern California and the Sierra Nevadas. That all translates to snow. And some places are going to finish up with well over 100 inches out of all of this when it's all said and done. And the rains continue on up into the Pacific Northwest. Not a whole heck of a lot when we look at the probability of snow in the east for the next 72 hours. It is mainly confined to Maine, away from the coast, and in the upper peninsula of Michigan. Most of that is front end loaded with what's going on for tonight and into tomorrow. Again, this is the probability of at least two, and you see the probabilities here much higher. The reddish areas are all 80% to as high as 100% probability, and you pretty much can see where that is. And as far as the long range is concerned, to the east, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday of next week, not a flake, not an ice pellet, nothing. Well, I shouldn't say that. This is for the probability of at least 2.5 to 3 inches. So the probability of that happening is zero. So this weather front comes on through with showers. They move through this evening. They're pretty much gone by late this evening in eastern PA to southern New England. We're going to dry out to an extent as we go through the next several days. There are little upper air disturbances that are going to move along that might trigger off a couple of rain showers on Friday morning, and maybe in upstate New York. There could be a little bit of wet snow also up in New England. You just roll back. You could look on the left. You see the big arm that's coming in from the Pacific into California with heavy rain and heavy snow. Then they catch a break here in the east after Friday. I think Saturday looks okay. We actually are going to cool off a bit with this high coming down from eastern Canada. You see if they're north of Lake Superior going into Saturday. It'll bring back temperatures closer to where they should be for this time of year. A weak low coming out of Kansas pretty much dies out. Maybe a little bit of snow on later Sunday into Sunday evening from that in some places inland. I think this might be a little bit overdone by the GFS, and then it kind of hangs around into Monday morning. It doesn't look like it's anything that's going to produce much, if anything at all. Then that low moves out to the east. Now, this model has decided that maybe for the middle of next week, some kind of storm forms along the Atlantic coast and brings the potential for some snow as a cold high builds in. Now, I will just tell you that this is the only model that's doing this right now, and as we all know, various models have shown certain things along the way in the last couple of weeks, and really none of them have come to fruition. I will, of course, and Joe Rayo will also, we will get into this tonight and explain what's going on. And by that time, of course, we'll have all the models done, and we can figure out what's going on here, if anything at all. And that's tonight on the Joe and Joe Weather Show at 7:35 Eastern Time. Weather in 5 brought to you by Omni True Value Hardware at 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon. 631-756-1125 is the phone number. The website is omnitruevalue.com. So we'll leave you with this marvel out in the Pacific. And tune in tonight, 7:35 on the Joe and Joe Weather Show for the latest short and long range developments.